In our last video, we explained how equilibrium price and quantity of a product is determined in a free market. Here is a recap. The market clearing condition is satisfied at point E, where equilibrium price is OP1 and equilibrium quantity is OQ1. Now, let us see what happens if there is a deviation from the equilibrium. That is, we are going to explain how the self-correcting process works when the market is not in equilibrium. If the market is not in equilibrium, two things may happen. Price of the product may be greater or less than the equilibrium price. Let us check the possible outcomes of these two situations in figure. The figure presents the equilibrium state of the market. Equilibrium is achieved at point E, where equilibrium price is OP1 and equilibrium quantity is OQ1. Let us consider a price P2, which is greater than equilibrium price P1. At P2 price, quantity demanded for the product, which we know from demand curve, is MP2, which is equivalent to OQ2. And quantity supplied of the product, which we know from the supply curve, is NP2 or OQ3. Clearly, quantity supplied NP2 is greater than quantity demanded MP2, and we know when quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, there is surplus in the market, which is Mn in figure. I repeat, at P2 price, quantity demanded for the product is P2M or OQ2, and quantity supplied is P2N or OQ3. Since quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, there is surplus in the market by the amount Mn or Q2, Q3. And we know when there is surplus in the market, price tends to fall. Thus, if price is greater than the equilibrium price, price falls due to the surplus in the market. Fall in price is continued until the surplus abolishes and we return to the equilibrium price P1 and equilibrium quantity Q1. Now, let us check what happens if price lies below the equilibrium price P1, which is P3 in figure. At price equals P3, quantity supplied of the product is P3G, which we know from the supply curve, which is equivalent to OQ2. And quantity demanded for the product is P3H, which we know from the demand curve, and which is equivalent to OQ3. Here, quantity demanded P3H is greater than quantity supplied P3G. And we know when quantity demanded for a product is greater than its quantity supplied at a certain price, there is shortage, which is GH in figure. I repeat, at P3 price, quantity supplied of the product is P3G or OQ2, and quantity demanded for the product is P3H or OQ3. And since quantity demanded for the product is greater than quantity supplied, there is a shortage by the amount GH equals Q2 Q3. And we know when there is shortage, price rises. Thus, When price lies below the equilibrium price, price rises due to the shortage. And the rise in price will be continued until the shortage disappears and we return to the equilibrium price P1 and equilibrium quantity Q1. This way, the self-correcting mechanism, which is invisible hand in Adam Smith's word, works in a free market to arrive at equilibrium.